Hello and welcome back to my FPL channel. I am FPL D and today I'm here for a special edition because of the fact that we are just sitting here just before the Carabao Cup games are going to be happening over tonight and tomorrow night. And I'm here to break down the January transfer window, what it means for teams, what you might have missed, the players that have been bought. I'm not going to be covering the players that have been sold because that's really what you should not be focusing on. You should be focusing on who is going to be literally performing in your teams between now and the end of the season. So without further ado, let's jump into what's happened in the January transfer window. Make sure you also smash a like and smash that subscribe button as well, please, because it's definitely, the channel is definitely growing and it can't be done without you. And obviously I'm back at work now, so as you can see, back in the work uniform. So look, every bit you can do to help me get and build the fan base is very much appreciated. So without further ado, let's jump into the January transfer window recap. So Arsenal made no signings, which is really big because I actually thought that if they made a transfer signing in terms of the striker position, that would have been someone I really would have wanted in my team. But it looks like they aren't making, well, they haven't made any signings. The window's closed. They've bought no one in, which makes me think that maybe Havertz is definitely now an option. Even Martinelli potentially, because Saka's still going to be out probably well into March, if not the end of March. We don't really know at this point in time. There hasn't been much of an update there, but that's definitely something that is interesting. Now, Aston Villa have completely changed their team. They sold Duran, so he's no longer at the club. He has been sold to Saudi Arabia, which is very important because in theory, if Watkins is fit for game week 25, potentially for doubles, it will be amazing stuff to bring him in as a doubling option in that particular game week. I think he's a really good pick now. But they changed all their team. Like, they sold so many players. Diego Carlos, I think, left as well. And they brought in Marlon, who we've already seen replace Watkins up front. Well, it looked like he was playing up front in the game against Wolves. Garcia's come in and is already playing in the defence. Rashford has been signed on loan, along with Marco Asensio from PSG and Diarcy from Chelsea. Like, three massive signings there that potentially, if they work, are players that we may want in our squads and also may propel Aston Villa up the table, which has to be a very pertinent thing that we should be concerned with at this particular moment in time. So for me, that's definitely something that you need to be aware of. Bournemouth, well, they made a bunch of signings here, but they didn't make the striker signing, which means that Dangu Otora, whatever you want to call his name, he's now a really good option at 5 mil. He might have actually gone up to 5.1 prior to me recording this, but he now looks like a nailed-on option. Kluivert's minutes look really good as well with all the injuries they've got. I don't think any of these signings here, Akombi, Crampton, Solas, Skillett, Derby, and Krupi, I don't even know how you say their names. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be impacting on the game time for the Bournemouth midfielders that everyone is interested in. Brentford have made a defensive signing, already played against Tottenham as well. Coyote, they've got a lot of problems at wing back. It looks like potentially that's not wing back, like left or right back. That looks like the position he is. He's like a full back. So I don't know if that's an option. I just really don't trust the Brentford defence. I don't think that's relevant. Brighton have made 3 more signings, as they always do. Tomiskas doesn't show up in the game, so I don't think he's actually going to be in the squad. Gomez and Cashin are in. They've already played as well. Could be interesting options, but Brighton have so many of them at that particular price point, but we'll look at them a little bit later on. Chelsea made no signings, but they did bring back Trevor Chalobah. Now, Trevor Chalobah's not covered in this video, other than the fact that I thought he was going to be an option because he played full 90 minutes in his first game back, and then he played 1 minute against West Ham. So I'm not sure what's going on there. That's definitely a wait and see, but he's unlucky not to feature on the other players that you may have missed. In terms of Crystal Palace, well, they bought in SA, who we saw score on debut, and they bought in Ben Chilwell. Now, that might impact Mitchell's minutes because he plays on the left. And if Chilwell can get back into some form, I don't actually quite understand this move. I feel like Mitchell's fit and available all the time. Why would they move for Chilwell? It doesn't really make too much sense for me. Look, if Chilwell does get fit and get in the starting lineup, he's definitely someone I'm interested in because of the fact that he is so attacking going forward. I just don't know if we can trust his body at this particular moment in time. So, moving on to Everton. Now, they've bought in Alcaraz on loan, from what I can work out. However, I can't find him in the game. So, that's all I'll say on that. I don't know if he's 22 years old. He's an attacking mid. I thought he would be actually quite a relevant signing on loan, but apparently he's not in the game. So, I can't find him anywhere. So, That's all I'll say on that. Fulham made no signings at all, so not relevant. Ipswich Town made a bunch, so they signed Fellini, I don't know how you say it, Alex Palmer, Boniface, and Cisco from Brighton, and Godfrey also came in on loan from Fiorentina. Will it make him better? I can't recommend it. I'm spending no time on Ipswich players, Leicester players, or Southampton players. So if you came there looking for that, I just can't recommend a team that's down the bottom. Liam Delap was a really good shout against Southampton, but other than that, I just don't think it... Maybe it improves Ipswich. I just can't see these signings making too much of a difference. I still expect them to end up in the bottom three. Leicester City, ditto. Kabali was the only signing that they made. Again, I'm not sure that's going to make much of a difference. Liverpool made no signings, so we carry on as is. I mean, they've already got minutes risked up front anyway. If anything, they probably just needed another defender, but looks like they're just going to go without. Manchester City are an interesting team to watch. So Gonzalez signed on transfer deadline day. Mamouche, obviously, has hit the ground running. He's looked dangerous without actually returning. Victor Race, that is. He's a defender. He's been signed, but he hasn't featured yet. Obviously, Kushinov doesn't speak English. Got thrown in for 50-odd minutes. We haven't seen him since, but he's also been signed. And F. Cherry is a signing for next year. I believe he's coming over in January 2026. I could be wrong on that one. In terms of Manchester United, they needed to make more signings than what they've done, but they've got two defenders in here. Heaven, who actually might get some minutes. We'll talk about that a little bit later on with the injury to Lisandro Martinez. And Dorgu, who I expect to literally walk straight into the team because Manchester United's left-hand side is absolutely abysmal. All right, in terms of Newcastle United, they also made no signings, so they actually got rid of Lloyd Kelly, which actually probably is good for Livramento and Hull's minutes moving forward in the defence. Nottingham Forest brought in Hennessy, which I was like, but Sells has been in such a great form, I don't think we're worried about that. And Bindon, but I think that's another New Zealander as well. They've got a few New Zealanders in that squad now. Nothing really impacts on that. Obviously, they didn't get the forward signing that they were chasing with bidding for Cunha and others, which means that Chris Wood is a very good hold and a good long-term option. Southampton, again, I've got no idea who any of these players are, but they're literally going to be championship fodder, and that's exactly where they're going. Wellington, Katie, Sandy, Odu, Firkin on loan, and Grombach. In case you're wondering what the asterisk is, that means that the player is on loan and has not been bought permanently. Some of them contain loan options in terms of you can trigger with an obligation to buy or an option to buy. But that's what the asterisk means. In terms of Tottenham, they brought in Min Hyuk, who, again, is one of those ones that's going to be coming in a little bit later or is going into the youth team. Kinski, who I've already seen playing in goal with all the injuries they've got there. Danzo, who I expect to walk straight into the lineup with all the defensive injuries they've got, particularly with Dragusin doing his ACL. And Tell, who is a really interesting one, priced interestingly, and if Tottenham do double in what is going to be double game week 25, here's an option potentially we may need to look at. In terms of West Ham United, these are the ones I'm really excited about. Landers, Ward-Prowse was recalled from his loan stint at Nottingham Forest. Maybe a sign that Graham Potter wants to play him. Again, Ward-Prowse is one of them players that is on a lot of set pieces, so if he does start playing for West Ham, you would think that potentially he could be an option, particularly considering he's dropped quite a lot in price. Yeah, I think he's down to 6.1. We'll have a look at that in a sec. And then, obviously, Evan Ferguson. Now, if Evan Ferguson can stay fit, I think he's 100% guaranteed to walk into that West Ham lineup with no problems at all. So I'll be very shocked if he doesn't actually feature really heavily on this. And then obviously Wolverhampton Wolves have signed Abu DGW. Oh my God, man, I can't pronounce his names. And Menetesi. So look, there's a few options there as well. But like, there's only one real club that we really need to talk about more than anything else. And that's Aston Villa. They have made a really good impact in this window. And I think potentially if they double game week in 25, provided Liverpool do overturn the result in the Carabao Cup in the next couple of days against Tottenham, then these guys are a really good option. Now, you'll notice that unfortunately, they've all been added to the game. The prices are correct. The names are correct. Unfortunately, they haven't put the photos in for the players yet. So Asensio and Garcia, they're just the West Ham, the Aston Villa home shirt. Then Marcus Rashford's still showing up in the game as a Man United player. He's not. He does play for Aston Villa at the moment. And then Diassi, ditto, still showing up in the Chelsea uniform, but he's there. So look, Marlon at 5.5 and Rashford at 6.6. And Asensio, I would say, at 6 mil are all really relevant options. However, it is like taking a stab in the dark. If they do double game week in 25, you would be taking a bit of a risk. If Watkins is confirmed out, I would 100% be really tempted by going for Marcus Rashford. 6.6 enticing price. He's got a point to prove, no doubt. If he can hit the ground running, which, let's face it, if he does get going, he's more than capable of getting the points. I just think that he is probably the pick of the Aston Villa options. Diassi probably improves them defensively. I would expect him probably to come into the centre of defence. And Garcia, I'm not sure where he fits in. But I feel like potentially he could be someone that moves into trying to take one of those spots. Unfortunately, this is not good news for Conser, Dean, and that. They've signed 2 new defenders. Who are they taking the minutes off? That's concerning. Marlon, as we've seen, got played up front the other day. I don't think that Emery will make the mistake of playing Marcus Rashford up front. That is not his cup of tea. So it is going to be interesting. If Watkins is out, I would expect Marlon to start up front. And he's playing out of position at 5.5, definitely worth a gamble. And look at the fixtures that have got coming up. Ipswich at home, it will be Liverpool. I haven't put it in there because it's not confirmed, but it'll be Ipswich, Liverpool in 25, Chelsea in 26 at home. Then it's Palace and Brentford, not the worst fixtures in the world, and then it's Liverpool in the next 5. And that's up to game week 29. So the last fixture in Liverpool there, game week 29. I've only done the next 5 weeks because in reality, most people, if they've still got their second wild card, will be wild carding in game week 30. So we're really looking at the next 5 weeks. So the next 5 weeks, you really want them for the double, but then you are going to have to potentially sell them prior to that Liverpool game in 29, which means really you've got this week and then you probably want to be selling them again. But I wouldn't be too concerned. I think Villa play better against the better team. So Chelsea at home, I actually think will be quite a nice fixture for them. But yeah, they're definitely the players that are most relevant from the January transfer window. Now, in terms of Manchester City, now, they've got a few blokes. Again, they've added these guys to the game without uploading their pictures. Now, realistically, all you have to do is look at the fixtures here, and this should tell you that going for Man City prior to game week 29, probably not the best idea. They've got Newcastle at home. Probably not the worst fixture. You probably see a few goals. I would expect Newcastle to score, though. So for me, I wouldn't be going on any of the defenders. Liverpool at home, not looking good. With the way Arsenal dismantled Man City, Liverpool could 100% destroy them at their own deck. And then it's Tottenham away. And you never know what you're going to get with Tottenham. And then it's Forest obviously away as well, who are very good defensively. It's not the best time to be buying Man City players. It's why I sold Phil Foden. But realistically, the only one of these options that I'm really interested in is Marmoush. And he's at 7 mil. But I feel like with the way City's rotate, the only good thing I'll say is if they stay in Europe, Marmoush is not eligible to play in Europe. So he does become an option from that standpoint because of the fact that he's not going to get rotated for the European games. So that means that he'll be fresh always for the Premier League. So I feel like between now and the end of the season, we'll see a lot of Marmoush starting. So I think that's the only one that really catches my eye. Defenders, Victor Rice and Kusanov, I saw enough from that Kusanov 53 minutes in his first game to think not an option. In terms of Gonzalez, he's really been brought in to replace Rodri. Because of the fact that Rodri's still out and to try and salvage the season. I'm not expecting him to score goals. I'm just expecting him to do the kind of job that Rodri did to try and get Man City clicking again. I don't think he's an option. And to be honest, I don't think Manchester City are an option until probably game week 29. From here over the next 4, the fixture run's just hard to buy into. But Marmoush potentially, if he hits the ground running from game week 29, could be an option, particularly if Man City remain in Europe. Now, in terms of Tottenham, these ones, again, really relevant options for double game week 25 because if somehow Tottenham hold on against Liverpool, they will be doubling in game week 25. And then I really like the look of them. Now, Kinski, I'm not going to be buying a Tottenham goalkeeper. They concede way too many goals. Danzo, he's been bought in. He did used to play for Southampton, so his photo's actually already been added to the game. However, it's in an old Southampton shirt. So if you want to know what an old Southampton shirt looks like, that is what it looks like. Again, 4.5 mil, not the worst price point, but realistically, am I going to be going for a Tottenham defender? Probably not. And if I was, I'd probably be going for Pedro Porro. But again, they just concede too many goals to make it worthwhile. However, Tell coming in at 6 mil is really interesting. With Dominic Solanke still out injured, Son obviously preferably playing off the left, Richarlison back. Will we see him start straight away? Probably not. He'll probably be on the bench. So realistically, Tottenham's fixtures are not the best. They're not the worst either. It'll be Manchester United at home and Fulham away in the double. if that's the way you wanted to go and take a bit of a punt on any of these new players. Ipswich away, Man City at home, then it's Bournemouth at home, and then Fulham away in 29. But it wouldn't be 29, it'd be blank. So, like, it's not the best run of fixtures outside that Ipswich game. And look, we all know what happened the first time they played Ipswich. They lost at home. So it's not a surefire banker, but Tell is someone that definitely gives me interest, particularly at 6 mil. Like, there's a lot of interesting prices in terms of the midfielders that have been added to the game. Now, the two that I really like the look of, West Ham United. Now, they've got a pretty decent fixture run. They're definitely going to be playing in game week 29. And let's have a look. Brentford at home, straight off the bat in game week 25. Arsenal away in 26, not ideal, probably the worst fixture of this lot. Then it's Leicester at home, which looks really good on paper. Then it's Newcastle at home. Then it's Everton away. So, like, in terms of whether these guys can hit the ground running, you would think that Ward-Prowse has been recalled because he wants to play him, because they didn't ship him out again, which makes you think that Graham Potter's got a use for Ward-Prowse. Definitely someone I'm interested in. I don't think I'll be buying this week. And Ferguson's one of those blokes that if he's fit and available and he's firing, he could be a real good option. But I want to see him start and preferably score before I would go there. But at 5.5, he's dirt cheap. He's definitely going to get a run because West Ham, one position they really struggle in. Fulgreg's no good. Antonio, who knows when he's going to return. So there's definitely a spot there for Ferguson. It's just a matter of whether it happens. Again, the Premier League, how hard is it to put the West Ham shirt over the top of these ones? Apparently pretty hard. So unfortunately, they're in the Nottingham Forest and Brighton shirts. They are playing for West Ham, though. I do promise you that much. Then it comes on to the other options. And what have we got? So these are the 6 best other options I could find that potentially I might be interested in. Now, I'm going to start with Montesi. He's a midfielder, scored quite a few goals. He's known with a bit of a goal-scoring threat, and Wolves definitely need some more goals. At 5 million, he could be an option. He's South African. He's quite mature. I think he's 27 or 28, so he's definitely an option. Again, 5 mil, dirt cheap, like bargain basement. Then we go into the Man United defence. Now, Lissandro Martinez going down means that Heaven O'Day may actually get fast-tracked into the first team to play in that particular position. I'm not expecting that. I do expect him to be integrated into the team at some point. And at 4 mil, if he does get a run of games, if they deem him ready enough, he's definitely someone that's worth a look. At 4 mil, definitely could be worth like that particular position. One player that I am interested in is Dorgu. Now, Dorgu's 4.5 million. He's been brought in to play that left wing-back role at Man United. And let's be honest, they need someone that's attacking. Now, apparently at Lecce in Italy, he was a very attacking kind of left wing back. The team is crying out for that. I think he walks straight in. Like, as soon as if he's fit and he's available, I reckon he's straight in the team. Dalot and Mazraoui will then be fighting it out on the right-hand side. Will it make Man United better defensively? No, probably not. But will it make him better attackingly? Hopefully, yes. And if it does, and it shows that he's got promise and he's creating chances, getting assists, he could be someone that we look at over the next few weeks. But it is very much a wait and see. In terms of the Brighton boys, they've just been hammered 7-0. Cashin's 4.5 million rated defender. They probably need some better defenders if you're getting spanked 7-0. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets more of a look in. He obviously has already featured for Brighton. And ditto with Gomez, 5.5 million in the midfield. Brighton have a habit of buying these young players and just playing them. However, the rotation risk is just too much for me to really recommend. But they are the two more interesting ones that I did see. And then obviously Coyote. Now, he looks, as I said, talked about, he plays in one of the fullback positions, I think. And Brentford obviously are minus a couple of Rico Henry and Hickey. They're both long-term injuries. So Coyote probably will be playing. I just don't know if they really want a Brentford defender. And look, that's essentially most of the transfer window covered. The main signings that have been brought in, whether they're relevant. I feel like I've covered all the relevant ones for fantasy and FPL for the remainder of this season. Hopefully that's been an enjoyable watch. Hopefully it's given you some food for thought. Whether there's any options there, whack them in the comments below. Who do you like the look of? Who potentially might you bring into your team? Particularly if Tottenham and Aston Villa, if either of those teams double in game week 25. Are you tempted by any of the options that I presented in this video? I am really intrigued to know. And who do you think is also the most likely team to double in game week 25 prior to these games that are going to happen over the next 2 nights? Join me on Saturday. I'm going to potentially do a live stream or an actual video with Alan covering what's going to happen for double game week 25, because we'll have the fixtures, we'll know the fixtures that are going to double in game week 25 by then. So make sure you tune in for that. I'll hopefully do a bit of a live stream on Saturday so you can join, bring all your options, bring all your questions, and remember to make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's been the D Unit with a January transfer window special.